Hello, everyone. This is Alexander Horat with the Tennessee Freedom Alliance, and today we're joined by a very special guest, and that is Becky Massey. She's the District 6 State Senator for Tennessee. Hello, Becky. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so one of my first questions is going to be is what made you want to become a state senator?
Before I was elected, I was an intellectual disability provider in Knoxville and was coming to Nashville advocating for adults with disabilities. And it basically grew on me as far as I saw that there were really good things happening in the state legislature and knew that it was something that, I could make a difference in people's lives by serving in the legislature. But most importantly is, when my predecessor announced she was stepping down a year early, I had 2 weeks to decide to run and just felt like this was a door God opened for me and wasn't a long-term plan, but it was something that I knew if elected that I could actually make a difference in people's lives like I was at my agency.
Wow, I think that's great that you were helping people in that way. That's very important work. So what have been some of your best legislation that you got through as a state senator?
Well, I tell people, I said my assigned passion is transportation and safety. I chair that committee, and so that's kind of my assigned passion. So I did a few years ago pass the bill that uh, the Transportation Modernization Act. It was the biggest one-time investment into our roads in Tennessee, $3.3 billion. But knowing that we're so far behind in our road funding, every bit helps. So that's kind of my assigned passion. My heart passion coming from the disability world is really the bills I've been able to pass for vulnerable people, whether it's people with disabilities, whether it's our elderly. When I passed the Silver Alert bill or the elder financial abuse, or it's kids or domestic violence victims, or kids of sexual abuse. And when you can pass a bill that actually saves a life, that really makes all your time, effort, and energy worthwhile. So those are the bills that kind of where my heart beats faster when I really know that I am able to make a difference. This year, we just on January 1st of this year, I had two of my bills that were first of the kind in the country that went through. One was setting up a persistent domestic violence registry for people that are convicted of domestic violence at least 2 times or more. Go on a registry, kind of like the sexual assault registry. The other one was it's called the Ink of Hope, and that's where we do training for tattoo artists to recognize traffic victims. That oftentimes they bring them in and have them tattooed, kind of like a brand almost.
Hmm.
And it was first of its kind in the country, and both of those bills will potentially save lives.
So
So.
you've definitely been fighting against human trafficking.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wish I didn't have to, but it's prevalent. It's been identified in each of our 95 counties in Tennessee.
Wow,
So
that's unfortunate.
anything we can do to educate and not only people for the resources, but just educate about it, to be aware. See something, say something. So.
I definitely agree. So has human trafficking become less of a problem in Tennessee with these bills being passed compared to other states?
Well, we typically, unfortunately, we're kind of at a crossroads of the country, so a lot go through our state. I think that's partially from where we're located, but we typically get one of the top marks in the country for legislation and policy we've passed to fight it. So, but it's still, some of these, especially these young girls that are trafficked and young kids that are trafficked, it's we just have to do what we can to make the effort.
Yeah, so is there anything major that you're working on with ending human trafficking for this next session?
No, don't really have any human trafficking legislation this year. We, like I say, did that when the Ink of Hope bill last year, though.
Oh, that's good. So, what are some things that you want to accomplish in this next session?
Well, I'm continually looking at public safety. So, yeah, we've got a bill kind of addressing super speeders that are a danger on our roads. They oftentimes, if you're excessively speeding, you get picked up for traffic, speeding and multiple times. There can be, kind of consequences on that. And, that there's fatalities, there's an increased risk of fatalities in those cases. So I'm working with some families who've lost children to excessive speeders. We've got a couple of AI related bills. The big one is some of our youth are using their AI companions as basically they're romantically involved with their AI companion. And there's incidences nationally of these kids committing suicide. And so we're trying to put a few guardrails on it and trying to address that situation. We're working on finalizing that bill. I'm just trying to think. We've worked a lot with the custody hearings in the courts and things, and we have not updated kind of the recommended training for the guardian ad litems. And so oftentimes kids are being put with parents, having parenting time with some individuals that are not safe for that child. And so we want to increase some of the training for the guardian ad litems. And we've got another one for military families moving to Tennessee. We've done a lot with the interstate compacts where a specific profession will have a compact set up. This bill is more of a general one that says if they're licensed in another state, they can be recognized with that similar license in Tennessee within a very quick period of time to kind of help our military families.
Yeah, I definitely think it's good that you're trying to stop suicide in young kids. And I think it's really terrible whenever we hear about that. How are these guardrails going to look like in saving these kids' lives?
Well, we're still working on the final language on that. So I don't want to say something until we really kind of get things a little more finalized. I'm actually got some meetings tomorrow with some legal people to try to make sure whatever we do is very constitutionally sound.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So one question that I've been asking legislators is whether you support getting rid of property tax for low-income people, basically for their primary residence, and switch that to a sales tax or some other different type of tax so that people can still own their home, that they won't lose their home to the government if they're not unable to pay for property tax.
Well, I mean, obviously, I've not heard that exact scenario, so sometimes it's hard to give an opinion when nobody's really talked to me about that before. I know we do have some good things in place for our homeowners that are income there that are would qualify for low income homes. So kind of definitely tax relief on that. Uh, it's a hard thing. There's certain services that we have to take care of as the government, and roads, education, law enforcement, basically, are some of our three big things. And we have to have revenue somewhere. I don't see us increasing our sales tax. I mean, that's that one. I'm not a betting person, but I could pretty well bet you a dollar that won't happen at
Okay.
least any time in the near future, with the legislature that we have. So, if you take it away from somewhere, if you reduce it somewhere, you've got to replace it somewhere. So I think I think we just need to maybe look at the protections that are in place that make sure they're reasonable. And, I know there's been some talk about, where we say how much value the property has. Well, the way the property's gone up, it can be going over the threshold. So there's maybe some ways we can reduce that there that I would look at.
Oh, that's good to know. Oh, that seems like a good, honest answer. So, is there anything else you'd like to tell the viewers in this video?
Well, what I'll tell people is, and this was a question I was asked one time, and I think, having come from an advocacy role too, it's um, one, get to know your legislators. They're in your communities. People talk to me at the grocery store, at when I have time to go to the grocery store, at church or at ball games. So get to know your legislature. They're very accessible people. We're home more than we're in Nashville, except during legislative session. We're here 4 days a week, but the rest of the time we're pretty much in our district. But somebody asked me one time um, do I listen to my constituents or do I just do what I want to do? And I said, I absolutely listen to my constituents. I read all my emails. Show up at everything. People talk to me. I get input on things. I do surveys. But, uh, but then I turned around and I said, well, do you think every one of my constituent agrees on any particular issue? And he goes, no. And I said, so which one do I listen to? And I said, I actually listen to both sides when it's say most issues we vote on are easy, but 5 to 10% are a little harder. They're a little more contentious. And I said, so you listen to both sides on those contentious issues and say, okay, are the people that are against it, are their points valid? Are there concerns that need to be made? Does that bill need to be amended? Are the people that are for it saying, oh, this bill will do this, all these wonderful things, are those all accurate? And so you sort through it, but at some point you have to make a decision. But that doesn't mean if let's say you think one way on a bill and Joe Smith thinks another way. If I vote with Joe Smith, that doesn't mean I didn't listen to you and I didn't check to see if your concerns needed to be addressed. So I think people need to know that legislators listen, but they can't always do exactly what you want them to do. But as long as they're respectful and listening, and you're respectful, that they're going to listen to you and take in what you're saying, pro or con, with whether you agree with them or not. I think most legislators are open to listening to all their constituents and then having at some point having to make a decision. So that's, to me, that was something. I think sometimes people think, well, if you vote against what I want, then you're not listening to me. There's two different things. So that would be the one thing I'd leave it for. There's great things happening here in Tennessee. Yes, we've got challenges, but I'll take our challenges over any other state in the country.
Yeah, and I think that's really important that you listen to both sides and make your decision that way. I think, but at the end of it all, it's definitely your decision to make after listening to everybody and getting all the information. So I think that's definitely important to know. I was wondering, thinking to ask you, so I just saw In-N-Out Burger, they just moved to Tennessee, and we're seeing a lot of big corporations moving to Tennessee now. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, we're a popular state for people to come to, whether it's the corporations or whether it's the average citizens that, like we call the folks from California, refugees. So, it's a blessing, but it's also a challenge. One, it helps our tax base, but on the other side of the coin, it really stresses our infrastructure. We're having trouble keeping up with our road needs, is for one, and it kind of jacks up the price of housing in Tennessee because there's more people coming in to kind of vie for the same house. So, like I say, it's a blessing, but a challenge. And so we just have to do the best we can to manage the growth. We can't help it that Tennessee's the best state in the country. I mean, I don't know if you were born in Tennessee, but I was, when you're blessed to be born in the best state, how can you argue that why people want to move here or not?
Well, I
So,
definitely think it is the best state, and I think that's why so many people are moving, especially big corporations, because
yeah,
they're leaving the old states and coming here. So it's
right.
definitely a big move. So I wanted to share my screen to show everyone Becky's website. So sign up for updates. You can sign up for updates at first name, last name, email on
And
Becky's.
I send an e-newsletter out weekly during session. And I just try to update people on what's moving through the Tennessee Senate.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so definitely sign up for that. You can look at Meet Becky, issues, updates, contact, and then join her team. So definitely some great information here. So people can follow you on Facebook, Instagram. Is there anywhere else people can find you at?
Those are the main things on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn also.
Oh,
Uh,
LinkedIn. That's great.
I don't do much with X or whatever you want to call it, Twitter. I stick to the other ones more so. So
Yeah, the other ones are all good, and I think that's great that you're on that. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people of Tennessee?
no, just everybody make sure you vote. Some people think their votes don't count. I know elections that have been decided by less than 20 people. So I think we all need to do our part you know, in your community, obviously having run a nonprofit, this is big for me, but there's a lot of issues that our communities are facing, and we can't all do everything, but everybody can do something. Try to always each day make a difference in somebody else's life. And I think that if we all did that, we'd continue to just keep getting better and better.
I definitely agree with you, and I'm just so thankful that you're willing to come on the show and provide all your great insight, and that you're willing to listen to all your constituents. I think that's a great plus, and definitely would like to have you on the show again soon.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please share the video with your friends and sign up for Becky's website as well. And thanks again for watching. Hope you all have a good day.